What is up, everybody? Today I'm going to give you 5 tools to help you talk with a Jehovah's Witness about John 1:1, the deity of Christ. So today's puzzle piece, Exegete. So you get that knock on the door, right? And standing there are 2 Jehovah's Witnesses. You start talking about the Bible, you start talking about Jesus, and eventually you get to John 1:1, one of my favorite passages in all of Scripture. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. And you say to them, see, Jesus is God. But they respond, they say, well, in the Greek, the word God, theos, actually lacks the definite article, so it should be translated as a God, little g. What would you say? I remember being presented with that same exact argument and not really having an adequate response or answer. Just feeling frustrated. That's why I want to help equip you with some tools to help you in a conversation with the Jehovah's Witness about John 1:1. Before we do, though, we have to set the foundation point right. What do the Jehovah's Witnesses believe about Jesus? They don't believe he is God or the second person of the Trinity. In fact, they believe that he is a created being, Archangel Michael, who became Jesus, who then became the Archangel Michael yet again. And that's a whole nother conversation that we can have for another day. But that's the point, right? That's the entry point of understanding for a Jehovah's Witness. Any passage like John 1:1, any Christological passage having to do with the deity of Christ is always filtered through that lens for them that Jesus is a created being. So that being said, let's dive into our tools. Tool number 1, just because a noun in the Greek lacks a definite article, it does not mean that it should be translated in an indefinite manner with the word a. In fact, John 1:6, 1:12, 1:13, 1:18, the word theos lacks the definite article, yet the New World Translation, which is the translation that the Jehovah's Witnesses use, it doesn't translate it as a God, it's translated as capital G God. So we definitely see a bias there. In fact, of the 282 times in the New Testament where the word theos lacks the definite article, only 16 times do we see the New World Translation actually translate it as a God or little g God or godly or something different than capital G God. So that's tool number 1. Tool number 2, the lack of the article and the word order are intentional. John, in the most concise way possible, is saying that what God was, the Word was, yet at the same time saying the Word and God the Father are not the same person, right? This is very important because if the article was present before the word theos, before God, it would essentially say that Jesus and the Father were the same exact person, which is an ancient heresy called modalism. Tool number 3. No Greek scholar and no modern translation translates it as a God. There was a man by the name of Johannes Grieber. He was a Roman Catholic who became actually an occultist, a spiritist. His wife was a spirit medium, and he was told that the spirits gave him his translation. He translated it as a God, little g, and the Jehovah's Witness for the longest time actually used Johannes Grieber as a source. And now they have since distanced themselves from Johannes Grieber, but that's definitely in their history. Tool number 4, we have to look at the context, right? The prologue is verses 1 through 18. Jesus called the monogenes theos, the one unique God, or in verse 18. Then we see John 20:28 when Thomas says, my Lord and my God. So John is bookending John 1:1, John 1:18, John 20:28, emphatically saying that Jesus is God. So we have to understand the context. Tool number 5, make sure that you talk with the Jehovah's Witness in a loving manner, right? Most of the Jehovah's Witnesses who come to Christ do so through a loving relationship with a Christian, a genuine Christian who really doesn't want to win an argument, but wants to see the truth be told in a loving manner. I originally started studying apologetics with the Jehovah's Witness and the Mormonism beliefs, and with the sole intent purpose of trying to beat them down theologically. But God really convicted me and just brought me to my knees and saying, you're not going to win to anybody in an argument, right? So it's not about winning an argument, it's about displaying the truth in a loving way. And those are 5 tools to help you in your conversation with the Jehovah's Witness. Until next time, keep putting those puzzle pieces together.